Hello. Hey everybody, this is Docking Bay 94. It's another Thursday night. We're getting settled a little bit here. Jeff is celebrating Aubria's birthday.
Yeah,
which is cool, and so we weren't exactly sure he was going to make it in tonight, but looks like he's here. Just barely. Let me get you. Let me get you set up here on the video. You could be listening to us on the audio over at sci-fi.radio, sci-fi for your Wi-Fi. That's always pretty cool. And you could be watching us on Facebook, or on YouTube, or on Twitch. And interestingly, I got a note from Restream, which sends us to all of these other things that they're no longer doing Twitch.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
Wait, Restream is no longer doing Twitch.
They're no longer.
You said, Twitter.
Oh, I'm sorry, Twitter. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
No, I misspoke.
Yes.
I'm flying the plane over here, and I meant to say, good catch. No, we're still doing Twitch. We are not, however, doing Twitter, which is they're like, would you like to disconnect this account? We don't service that anymore. And I don't know if they switched it over to X or whatever the heck they're calling it now. I'll have to look. I honestly, I don't know. I don't really care.
Yeah,
it's like not a thing.
Hi, Alan. He's watching on YouTube. And I see Talon Thorne on Twitch. I don't know what we got on Facebook yet.
Sam and Pat.
Yay!
Hi, Sam and Pat. Sam had an emotionally rough day today, so hugs out to him.
Oh, I didn't see. I'm sorry.
They just turned over the keys from a house they lived in for many years and have many happy memories. And so bittersweet to move on to something new.
It was a nice house, too.
Yeah, it was.
It was a cool place. We were fortunate enough to go check it out on our trip up to that corner of the country.
Yeah.
Very fun. Oh my gosh, how's everybody doing this week?
That's what it is.
I am so
catching
tired.
up, I tell you.
Yeah, Colleen's a zombie. I'm a zombie. You're looking pretty tired, Jeff.
Jeff, did you guys do anything to celebrate Aubria's birthday?
Today it was just she got home and she got some presents from us, and then we had dinner from Cheesecake Factory.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. Cool. And the thing I had was like they have a veggie burger that's not trying to be a burger. Oh. Like it's not trying to be meat.
It's not
so it's actually
trying to be false meat, yeah.
Yeah, so it was great. It tasted great. But apparently there's dessert too, but we haven't gotten to that yet because trying to let food settle after dinner. Yeah.
Oh, this does look good. I would like this veggie burger, but I don't think Sean would.
Oh yeah.
He might.
Too much mushroom.
It is crispy veggie burger with brown rice, farro, mushrooms, black beans, and onions, served on a toasted wheat brioche bun with melted fontina cheese, avocado, cucumber, tomato, arugula, pickles, and garlic aioli.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good, Jeff.
There's a lot of stuff there, isn't it? Yeah. It was very tasty.
So Talon Thorne tells us that the Twitch stream is watchable on Discord.
I had
no idea.
What I did is I set it up to broadcast our little teaser over on Discord so that when the show started, they got a little announcement in the live DJ thread where we usually talk in the morning. Uh-huh. And darn if I'm not looking at it right now. Off it goes.
That's pretty cool.
They make you watch a Twitch ad, I guess, and then there it is right in the feed. That's really cool.
That's really neat.
Woohoo! And we'll see.
Oh, apparently
how long the delay
we're
is.
not broadcasting on Sci-Fi right now.
Uh-oh.
Well,
that's what Kit's saying.
Well, this says that we are, although I have to say there have been some problems with the feed, depending on how you access it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll go to Sci-Fi Radio right now.
Yes, the auto DJ
Kelly
right
just
apparently.
joined us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Excellent. Kelly, who...
And Kit just signed in on Twitch.
Kelly and John just had their anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary,
Which was
Kelly
great.
and John.
And oh my gosh, I have to say, it was really cool. Kelly posted a whole bunch of pictures from their wedding, which was 27 years ago. And one of the things was the bachelorette party that Colleen and I threw for them, which was, it was one of our Indiana Jones scavenger hunts. And she had the original mailer that we sent out that I haven't seen in a long time. So that sinister music basically tells us that we are not broadcasting for some reason on sci-fi.radio, even though it says we are on the air.
Boo.
We're not. So I'll play with that while you guys talk.
Sean, can you, well, probably not. You should probably deal with that first. Sorry.
Can
I was going to say, can you,
Yeah.
although apparently like I don't know if anybody's seeing anything. My browsers on both Twitch and Facebook crashed.
Oh, no.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Technology made our life so much easier.
I think mine is still working. Lori said she was having trouble with Facebook, so she's over on YouTube. So,
And I get to watch the ads again. So when Sean is done looking at sci-fi.radio, maybe we can get him to share the image of the mailer that he sent out, because it really was quite fun.
It was kind of fun. Yeah, it's we seem to be playing Abney Park right now. Inexplicably.
yeah.
I don't know why that is.
Yeah.
I'll send a note to Gene and see
I
what...
think Gene is out.
Oh, is he out?
I just saw a Facebook post, but maybe that was yesterday.
I mean, I was talking to him just a few minutes ago.
Oh, okay. So I'm probably looking at something old.
So I don't know. But, gosh, there's just all manner of confusion going on over here. Nothing on the internet is working, even though everything like checks out. Our speed is good and we're all connected fine. And I don't even know what the deal is. And I'm trying to get to our messenger, which it's not letting me do, which is a real drag.
Oh, this post was actually somebody posted an old photo.
Are you in the picture now?
Oh, I see.
So
it looks like you're scratching nothing, which is really
I know.
weird.
It's Winifred. She's up on the bed and you can barely see her on the window. There she's her nose.
You can see her nose and she's licking you.
Yes. But she's licking around in the air, but not me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all we could see is like a nose and a tongue. It was pretty funny. Right.
Yeah, let me go find Kelly's picture, and I'll share that over on the video. It's pretty cool.
Jeff, what tell us about what you did at the Santa Ana Zoo.
First off, it was hot. Our original plan was go to Santa Ana Zoo and then go to the Irvine Park Zoo. But it was so hot we only did the Santa Ana Zoo. So in reality, what we first did was go to breakfast at the Broken Yoke, then the Santa Ana Zoo, and Broken Yoke was fun. It was good food. The Santa Ana Zoo, they had a lot of stuff that was not, or not a lot, like a few habitats or enclosures that were closed and being rebuilt and remodeled and whatnot. Mm-hmm. But they had something new that we hadn't gone into before, so it must have been in the past year or so that they put it up. Because they have an aviary, you can go and see all the birds, and then they've got like some habitats in that for like some of the cats and the birds. The monkeys, all the primates, they're actually getting ready to build this huge habitat for all the primates that they have there. So right now there's still these weird cage-like things. They're just like big boxes made out of chain link. But where the new thing they had was they have a, I guess you can call it an aviary too, because that's kind of what it was, but it was butterflies.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, it was tons and tons of butterflies. So you'd go in there, and all you could do is like, if I have you, just stand there, and maybe they'll fly away. We'll come and help. But it was, but yeah, it was just I
I've
got
seen
pictures of
those
that,
things,
and
but I've never been to one
yeah,
where you go in and all the butterflies land on you.
They
I
have them at
did
the
see-
museum frequently in downtown LA.
I
Yeah.
did see an episode of Bones where there was a body that was being consumed by butterflies because butterflies are
Carnivores, apparently.
Yeah, so be careful with all those butterflies landing on you in a cage. They don't eat you.
Nom,
yeah,
nom,
exactly.
nom, nom. Well,
Jeez.
last I checked, Jeff's not dead.
Right.
Yeah,
He could be a zombie.
He's got that going for him.
Yeah.
all because it all depends on your point of view there. But yeah,
Right. And then Sean went to Legends Con over the weekend, and then
Me too.
Jeff joined
well,
him.
part of it.
Sean went Saturday, and then both Sean and Jeff went on Sunday, right?
Yeah, it
So
was.
tell us about that.
It was pretty epic. So, if you remember, back when Disney took on Star Wars, they did a very controversial thing, which was turning everything that had been written prior to Disney's takeover into a category called Legends. Now, it was always expanded universe. It was never actually considered to be part of the Star Wars canon of stories. All sorts of characters that just don't exist anywhere in Star Wars, but exist in these books and things. And Lucas basically said, if I didn't film it, it doesn't exist. He changed that a little bit with the Clone Wars because he was involved in that. And so he sort of changed it. If it didn't show up on screen, it doesn't exist. With some caveats like, say, the Star Wars Holiday Special, which George hated with a passion. So some friends of ours in the local Southern California Star Wars fan community put on a convention at the Burbank Airport Marriott Convention Center where, gosh, Colleen and I did conventions for a couple decades right across from the Burbank Airport. And September 9th and 10th, they did this big Legends Con, which was designed to celebrate all of the books and things that people loved that kind of got booted to the side. And it's not like Disney stopped, making the books. You can buy Legends stories. They're still publishing these things under that banner because a lot of them are very good. A lot of people really love them. And so, Disney's not beyond making money off of them. But in this case, for this convention, they wanted to get a whole bunch of folks together who contributed to Legends. And so we had a bunch. It was almost all literary, which was amazing. BioWare had sent a bunch of freebie posters and stuff from their Old Republic games, which was amazing that they still even had. And then a lot of the authors that showed up, Randy Stradley, Michael Stover, Sean Stewart, Corinne Becco, Abel Pena, our friend Craig Miller, who wrote the Star Wars Memories and was the first head of fan relations for Lucasfilm. He worked with Charlie Lippincott in the promotional department. Jason Fry, Michael Stackpole, who did all sorts of Star Wars RPG stuff for West End Games, in addition to writing like the X-Wing series and stuff like that. Henry Gilroy was there. Michael Kogi, who is usually at our big library event that we do in Rancho Cucamonga. He's terrific, and we've interviewed him a few times. And Joe Bongiorno, not to be confused with John Bon Giovanni, which is the guy from Bon Jovi, and Mike Hansen. It was really fun. And so if there was an area of interest, they tried to cover it. And so Jeff and I brought our cars, which was really cool. We put them on display along with Chris, who had the Sith Spawn Mustang, and Sean had his Starspeeder 3000, which was really fun. So here are some of the panels. Barbara Hambly was there. She wasn't in the list. I just mentioned.
Gotcha.
She'd written a whole bunch of stuff. So there was a panel on planetary science. The Saber Guild did a performance. There was a panel on the women in Legends, like maybe the most prominent of which was Mara Jade. That everybody remembers, Luke Skywalker's wife, who doesn't exist in the Disneyverse. Everybody pretty much signed stuff except Henry Gilroy, who injured his arm and couldn't sign. Seriously.
Yeah.
And lots of roundtable discussions. And so our friend Ryan was very, very involved in it, which is really, really very cool. And I'm actually pretty grateful to him for throwing me on a panel on Sunday, which was Make Mine Marvel. And so I got to moderate a panel that was all really cool Star Wars authors who didn't contribute to the early days of Marvel, but were all influenced by them. And so I brought a huge stack of 1977 comics, which they loved. They thought it was, and as they were talking about stories and like, oh, you know, my favorite was The Hunter, and I'd like flip through and go, this guy, and I'd like pull out the comic, and we had a blast just talking about the artists that all influenced us and the writers and things. But so it was 2 days of Star Wars, and lightly attended. It didn't have like a huge attendance, but for a first year convention, it was great. It was to also help raise funds for the Peter Mayhew Foundation. But my wish is actually that they will just break even.
Yeah.
But everything kind of centered around the dealer's room. What did you see, Jeff, in the dealer's room that was really cool?
In the dealer's room, you know, I mean, I saw a lot of stuff like typical things that people sell at like a comic shop or something. But and one fella had some masks and stuff that he I think he was one of the designers of them. But what I actually thought was kind of cool looking, and I get a chance to like get a really good look at it all, was it was an artist there, and he doing what looked more like it looked more like it was pencil, or maybe it was charcoal, but black and white. And he had a picture of like Chewbacca with dreads,
right?
So pretty. I thought that was pretty cool. And of course, and Ryan. I mean, I think Ryan got me into because I displayed my card. He's like, yeah, come down. He had me there for my birthday. He's like, yeah, So it was nice to be able to come down on there and do that on my birthday, and then having Sparrow along with me.
Did you see the guy with all the action figures set up?
Yes, I did.
And when we say all the action figures, we pretty much mean all the action figures?
Yeah.
Like he had easily 1,000 action figures.
Yeah, everything lined up and marching.
It was nuts.
Marching in line. And this one, so usually, another thing about this convention was that normally I don't really go to panels at cons. I don't really do that. This one I ended up going to 3 of them. So
right on
Sunday. And one of them was and I don't want to butcher the naming of it, but it was basically queer characters in Star Wars.
Okay.
That was went there with Sparrow for that, and then the other, one of them was it was it was like a Rebel Legion of First costuming advice or something panel. And because they wanted me to be there to be on the panel, and I got in there, and I just kind of sat there while they all talked. The
panel that you went to on Sunday, the first one you went to was Queers in Space, and they took the word queer and in parentheses had the EU of the expanded universe highlighted, which was very funny. And then the next one you did must have been replica costumes, with
I
the
think
Star
so,
Wars
yeah.
costume clubs.
Yeah.
That's cool. What was the other one
And
you did?
and the last one was I think it was called Writing Star Wars Good.
How
Yeah.
to write Star Wars good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And Tony Gilroy was in there. I'm sorry, Henry Gilroy was in there,
Oh, right on.
and Jack was in there, and a few others. Lose the names.
Yeah, there's
And that was
a
pretty cool. And Ryan was a moderator.
there's a schedule here, but it doesn't say who is on the panels, which is like really funny. You can't like
Yeah.
click on it and get the people
Yeah.
who were on it, which is really a bummer. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun. And on Sunday, I didn't know where you'd gone, so I went back to the green room, and I ended up having like a really long discussion with Barbara Hambley and Michael Stackpole and like all sorts of really cool people who were hanging out in the green room, and that was like super, super fun. Michael Kogi, who we know really well from our library things. I gotta say, it was pretty well run. The woman who was in charge of it, sort of the force behind the entire thing, normally works on the Mars rovers.
Yeah.
And I can only assume that her project management skills came into play because it was pretty amazing. The exhibit hall wasn't too big. They only had about 20 booths in there, and then some surrounding the walls, like signings and sellings and things. And some of them, like, so Mysterious Galaxy, which is a sci-fi bookstore, they had 3 whole booths just to themselves. Lightsaber booth. The Lego Users Group of LA came and showed off a bunch of stuff. And I'll say that just made me sad because it made me miss Legoland so much, where these guys used to come down and display their cool creations. We would go to Legoland, do a whole Star Wars weekend. Man, I miss that. Lots of prop places, and everybody has a Star Warsy kind of name. One is Lazy Day Galaxy, which isn't that Ryan? I think
It's
that's
Ryan.
Yeah,
that's
that was
Ryan.
Ryan's, the clothing, the shirts and stuff. Yeah.
Right. Punch It Chewy Press, Twin
Those are
Suns
stickers.
Foundation. Yeah, the stickers. You bought some, didn't you?
Yeah,
stickers?
they're on the car.
There was Cosplay for Science, and I talked to these guys for quite a while. They were actually really great because they're trying to interest people in science using the pop culture as a hook. And so we had a long talk about things we did for the California Science Center and stuff. There was a lot of really talented stuff on display. And then, of course, inexplicably, the California Browncoats were there.
Yeah.
For Firefly.
Yeah.
But they're always really cool. And actually, I talked to them a bit about promoting some of their some of the charity work that they do. They've for the past year, they've donated $10,000 to various charities, which are really cool.
Nice.
So
Yeah, I talked to Henry Gilroy, and on Sparrow to Do Sparrow just had an actual story creating question as like sort of like story building, or world building question and story and writing for him. And then I asked him if he about if he had seen the car, the ghost out there, and he had already taken pictures. He loved it, and I asked him if he had any suggestions of what he'd want to see on it and stuff.
nice.
So
You didn't have him sign your dashboard or anything,
no, he couldn't sign it anyway.
was
He didn't
this,
get it on an
Jeff?
arm.
right?
Who was this?
Huh?
Who was
Henry
it?
Gilroy.
Who is?
Well, he worked on Clone Wars and Rebels, and I believe he's also working on Ahsoka as well.
And what does that mean? Worked on? What did he do?
Writer. He's
Writer.
writing.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And I asked him, what he thought. And he's like, "Yeah, can you maybe this, do this to it, or this?" So he's like, I think he said like, see if we can get the Ghost logo bigger,
Uh-huh.
Okay.
and then like and add kill marks.
right.
Like the type items. He's like, oh, and maybe a Chopper in the bubble dome thing up on top. I'm like, well,
Working on that. Yeah.
yeah.
So I looked up
Engines.
I looked up Henry Gilroy's credits. He does a lot of animated writing. So he's currently working on Dragons: The Nine Realms. He did the Usagi Yojimbo Chronicles of Samurai Rabbit, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Assemble, Star Wars Rebels, of course, a whole bunch of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Batman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Captain America. He's been a busy dude. He's got about 53 titles under his belt, 21 episodes for the Clone Wars, and 18 episodes for Rebels. And so obviously they like what he did. Oh, and he did Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go with Mark Hamill.
There you go.
That's a title.
Right? Isn't that a great title? And House of Mouse and all sorts of stuff. So, Jackie Chan Adventures.
Oh, see, there you go. Right there. That's all that matters.
Right. And Batman the Animated Series was his very first credit in 1992. He did one episode. So he's already my hero. And 2 episodes of The Tick.
Yay. See, there we go.
And I feel like we wished Jeff happy birthday last week, but now I'm not sure.
Dear.
Were we even here last week? Was that the week we took off?
No,
or was that the week
we
before?
were there last week.
Okay.
But
my birthday was on Sunday.
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Probably why.
If
Thank
we
you.
haven't,
So, at the con, I'm standing there talking to them, and all of a sudden they break into singing "Happy Birthday," and like basically
that's awesome.
half the con floor is singing.
Oh, that was fun.
fun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I missed that. That's very cool.
Pretty funny.
I hate conventions just because you can't be everywhere all at once.
Yeah.
Which is really frustrating. Because there's like so many places that, panels I wanted to be on and things like that.
Ryan basically took whatever chance he could to tell people that it was my birthday. It was funny.
Nice.
That's nice.
I'm looking at the people who are tuned in right now. I don't know if they got us fixed or not. I'll have to check on that. But I can't even say the name of this town in Sweden. It's Munka Ijungby.
Wow.
I can't. I don't even know how to say this.
Yeah.
Hello to Eric, who's probably done doing the dishes. Oh yeah, he is. He said dishes done. And let's see. Are we done with the talk about Legends Con?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, they're planning on doing it again. They've set a tentative date for 2 years from now, which would put it in 2025. It remains to be seen whether they can wait that long because they seem to be riding the high of their success.
That happens. It's really hard. If any of them are listening, be careful not to say yes to anything for the next several weeks.
Right.
Because it's really hard to say no to anything when you're riding on the high of a successful venture.
Just enjoy the high and then think about the next one in a little bit. But they're already talking about potential venues and things like that, as you do, because you're like, well, this one was great, but what are we going to do?
I've been talking to Ryan on Facebook Messenger, basically saying, I'm going to have to make a costume for this thing. So,
and
back and forth with these ideas.
I feel like such a dummy. I had a costume, and I forgot that I had it. I had the Old Republic Jedi armor. From the thing that we did in at E3 to promote the game. So I completely forgot.
Yeah, I don't have anything, but I've been looking at things that I kind of liked, but I'll have to. Also, want to do research on some of these because I don't really know all the storyline and stuff for some of these things I'm interested in. So
Legends is so vast that, and I'll have to say, I got to be honest, it's not all good.
Yeah.
Some of it's great, some of it's and some of it's like not very good at all. So, but that's all personal taste. There are people who like things that I don't, and I like things that they don't. And but a lot of those books, even though the histories don't hold water anymore, are still a lot of fun. And some of my favorites were the Tales of the series. So they had Tales from the Mos Eisley Cantina, Tales from Jabba's Palace, Tales of the Empire, Tales of the Rebellion. They were cool anthology books where they just told backstories about characters who were in the background. And
Gotcha.
that was a lot of fun, I thought. And honestly, those things should have been a TV series. If Disney's looking for a Star Wars TV series, they need to do one that just tells the stories of people you've seen in the background. What were the circumstances that led Greedo to face off with Han Solo? You know, who were the Tonica twins and why were they in the cantina in the background? You know, all of that, all that kind of stuff. What put Ula in Jabba's palace dancing for him? So many neat stories that they could tell in the background. And make a whole anthology series just focused on different characters every week.
Yeah.
All right, and Sean went to Disney on Tuesday. Anything special that you thought at Disney?
Well, I went with our friend Judy, who hadn't been there in a long time. So, I'm not usually too fond of doing this, but since she's debating getting a pass, so I thought, well, let's see how much stuff we can get on. And so the Disney plaids over there have signed me up for the DAS pass, and I don't usually use it, but I thought, man, the lines are so crazy. It was like 140 minutes for Rise of the Resistance and stuff like that. I'm like, So I did use it to get on a couple of rides. And she'd never seen the holiday overlay for Haunted Mansion.
Oh.
And it's been going on for like 22 years. So she's like, that was like top of her list. So we went and did that. And basically what the DAS pass is, if you don't know, is it works like the Lightning Lane or Genie Plus. And so it puts you don't skip the line. It just puts you in the Lightning Lane instead. And we still waited for quite a long time for the rides. We just didn't wait like 140 minutes. We waited like, 50 minutes or something like that, which was considerably better. But we did a pretty fair amount. We walked 9 miles, for which we were pretty grateful. I found a very large Minnie Mouse sipper that our friend Mela was looking for. I don't know if she's listening right now, but we did find that. And so we've got that for her. But it's huge. It's got to be 12 inches tall and about 7 or 8 inches wide. And it's big. It is a big, giant plastic toy. And so we found that at lunchtime, and I lugged it around till midnight. It's like
the Winifred Mini from Hocus Pocus.
Yes,
so
or Minifred, I guess, if Sanderson. And so it's pretty cool, but it's very giant. I did not find your shirt, Jeff, I'm afraid. I looked again.
Yeah, I know. I think they're giving up on that size for me. I think that's what they're doing.
Well, I mean, it's obviously their most popular size, and so I imagine they're having more made. The difficulty is that they're out of larges. So they have small, extra small, medium. They're out of smalls, too. Extra small, medium, and then 1X, 2X, 3X.
Of course.
And they do not have large, which is a real drag. So I'll keep looking for you. I just re-upped my passport, the magic key, as they're calling them now. And I determined, and I in fact, I have here this big old giant stack of receipts here represents about 55 visits to the theme park in the past year. And so, I certainly feel like I got my money's worth. But of course, then you have to add the gas and your time, and it takes the savings out of it just a little bit. But in terms of going to Disney, instead of spending like, $110 a ticket and $30 for parking every trip, so we figured out that it was something like $30 a trip, which is about what parking costs. So,
did you end up getting the lenticular Haunted Mansion card?
Yes, so we got the first 2 of those.
Nice.
Colleen and I went on.
They're in the other room though, so I can't show.
They are. They're over on the desk.
I can go get it when we talk about it.
Yeah, go for it. So
mine's in a bag.
We got we got the first one, which was Thurl Ravenscroft.
Yeah.
And we got the second one, which was Paul Frees.
Nice.
Which was cool. So they're doing one a week. I guess they're doing a series of 4. They're very cartoony.
Yeah.
But they're pretty fun.
Yeah. I have because Christina went recently, and
the first one.
She got me Thurl.
The first one says Thurl Ravenscroft on it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hang on.
Did you grab 2 Thurl Ravenscrofts?
No. I've got it.
Because it does say Paul Frees.
It says Paul Frees. I thought it just said Ghost Host. I didn't realize that was lenticular as well.
Right.
So the first one, which I showed last week, is Thurl Ravenscroft Singing Best.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You have to tilt it up and down. Yeah, that's how it changes.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah. I have Christina got me that one.
Yeah,
so
that one's
I
pretty
now have
fun.
that
Okay.
one.
And then on the back, it's got some text.
Little bio
about it.
there. Mm-hmm.
And then week 2 is this one. And
Question mark.
So tilt that one forward and back. There you go.
Oh, there we go. There he is. Yeah, I see.
Paul Frees. They were very kind in their caricatures, I'll say.
although they look an awful lot alike.
They do. I mean, there's the distinguishing marks are pretty. They're basically like little Funko Pop dudes. Tilt Paul Frees down just a little bit. Nope, that's Thurl Ravenscroft. There you go. So yeah, I mean they do look pretty similar.
Oh, there we go. There's both of them together.
But anyway, did manage to score them. You do have to show your
magic key.
Your magic key, to get them. And in fact, I blasted right past the people who had them because they weren't in the same spot they were the first time.
Oh no!
Oh, okay.
So, and then
Where were they this time?
They're like, "What are you looking for?" I'm like, "I'm looking for the card." And she's like, "This one?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They were leaning on the glass case in the gallery that had the castles in it.
Oh, so they were in the same shop, just a different spot.
Same shop, different spot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Pretty cool.
Sean ended up coming home super late on Tuesday.
So-
I did. We had a really good time, though. We did a whole lot of stuff. And I introduced Judy to the app for Galaxy's Edge. And because the Magic Band thing is going on right now for key holders, the first thing we did is we went to World of Disney and got her a free Magic Band, even though she's not a Magic Key member yet. But that let her go and experience the bounty hunters and
she'll be able to use it to get in for the next two.
Her next 2 visits.
Yeah.
And so something to know about Judy, she and her husband, when they got married quite a few years back, ran what they very jokingly called Wedding the LARP. So they're big gamers in that house, Judy especially. And so she was really excited to be introduced to the app and all the jobs and the translations and the bounty hunting and all that kind of stuff, because it just completely gamified Disneyland for her, and she just completely fell in love with it.
Oh, cool.
I'm on team Judy as far as that goes. I love the app.
Yeah, and I think it's time for me to revisit a lot of those jobs and stuff. I think I've done them all. But I got 100% of the Resistance faction done, and I have to do the First Order and I have to do the Smuggler faction because I'm very low in those.
I have to say, though,
Gotcha.
that I enjoy doing the bounty hunts and other data pad activities when I'm on my own. So, like, when Sean finds somebody and he's talking to them for a really long time and I wander off and do those things, I have more fun than when we're hanging out together and doing it.
I think it's difficult to do them in tandem with each other.
It is really hard. I think it's easier as an individual, or I guess if you had a kid that you were doing it with, if only one of you does it,
Right.
it's a little bit better.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So then yesterday, Sean and I did a kind of last minute trip out to the Amundsen Theater to see Peter Pan Gone Wrong, Or Peter Pan Goes Wrong, maybe is what it's called.
It's called Peter Pan Goes Wrong, and it's one of a series of plays that is designed to, like, push the boundaries of the imagination that you have when you're like, oh man, can you imagine if that failed? And they go through with it.
Yeah. And it was funny, but in a very Three Stooges kind of a way.
Yeah, very slapstick.
And so for me, I like it when jokes are to the point and don't. It's like they kept going on with some of the jokes longer than you needed to see it. Like, how many times can you hit somebody with a ladder?
Right.
Like,
gotcha.
in one thing. It's funny if you come back to it later.
And this is what we call the Saturday Night Live problem, which is they have a good premise, and it starts out to be really funny, and then they just take it too long. And by the end of the thing, you're like, man, that was about 2 minutes too long. You should have stopped.
So does
back
beating the
there
dead horse
and called it a win. Yeah, which was.
Don't get me wrong, it was really good. I really enjoyed it. But another issue that we had was that both sitting in front of us and behind us were people who had seen the show many, many times. So they were projecting the punchline, like, kind of, they were laughing at things before they happened.
They were telegraphing it. Where they would, like, laugh before something funny happened.
And
which made you go, what did I miss?
And also, I had the suspicion that the woman who was sitting behind us was drunk.
Oh, no suspicion. Did you not smell the alcohol coming off of them?
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yeah.
She was laughing harder than it was funny.
Yes.
And she had, like, that, the nanny.
Fran Drescher?
Yeah, she had, like, a Fran Drescher.
Yeah, she was braying in that level that
and she was
the woman on Friends had.
Oh yeah, Janice from Friends. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
really
she was
bad.
sitting, like, right over here for me, and I had to spend most of the play with my hand over my ear because her laughter was, like, going right into my brain and short-circuiting something.
It was bad.
I can't handle this. So, very funny play, and we were delighted to be able to see it with Neil Patrick Harris, and thought it was fun to know that Neil Patrick Harris carries glitter in his underwear.
Right. Pixie dust. Pixie dust. So there were 3 narrators in. And so the way this is set up is it's very meta. There's a college theater group that is putting on these plays. They did A Christmas Carol. I don't remember what the first play was that they did.
I think it was a generic play because they did the play gone wrong.
Right, like a drawing room play or something like that. They're all very British, and there's a narrator in Peter Pan who tells the story to get you from scene to scene. And so the first one was Bradley Whitford from The West Wing. The second narrator was Daniel Day Kim from Lost in Hawaii Five-0. And Neil Patrick Harris sort of needs no introduction, of course. And what I found interesting is the people behind us who talked through the entire play said, not to us, I just overheard them, that Bradley Whitford and Daniel Day Kim did the narration part but weren't involved in the actual show part of it. Whereas Neil Patrick Harris, who did the show in New York, was in any scene he could weasel his way into, which was really fun. Yeah. He was like a part of the pirate crew, and he was doing whatever.
And his physical comedy was really fun.
He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing.
And all of the cast was really amazing.
They were good. Yeah.
I think the combination of the people who were sitting around us and such extreme physical comedy was a lot. But very much enjoyed it. And Sean or Jeff, whoever asked this, the original play that they were doing in The Play That Goes Wrong is called The Murder at Haversham Manor.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
So nothing we're familiar with.
Yeah.
But the cast was really great. They're in Peter Pan, of course, they fly actors around the set Peter Pan leaps into the air and flies and whatever. And like anything that could go wrong with that did. And they're like flying people into the walls, into the set, into the floor, into the ceiling. I mean, it was absolutely insane. And
clothing came off.
Yes.
At inappropriate times.
The sheer volume. And because...
And everything that you would imagine goes wrong with the fact that Peter Pan is being flown. All of that goes wrong.
Right. And because it's supposed to be a small production, many people double or triple up on parts. And there was some really good comedy for that, really fast costume changes, things like that were really great. But, you know, people end up on crutches and in wheelchairs and in casts by the end of the play. And it's just it's kind of nuts. We really did enjoy it, but it had what we have experienced before usually at the Hollywood Bowl, where people around us are a little too intoxicated. They're not paying attention. Yeah. And at the Hollywood Bowl, they'll play instrumental music. You'll be seeing an orchestra doing classical music or movie scores, and people will sing to it. Even though there's no words, they feel the need to be a part of the show. That was the same problem that we had here, where, you know, people were also inappropriately yelling at the stage. And pimping the gig that was to come and things like that. And it's people who've seen the show before but don't have the timing down. Like in a not very organized version of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, where it's like, that's coming. Hold your breath. It's cool. They'll get there. Let them get there. And especially in the case where like at one point Neil Patrick Harris sort of like did a magic trick in the middle of the show. Which was,
it was really funny.
And you're like, did they plan that? Did he do that? Because he's just screwing around. And it's exactly the kind of play.
I feel like they didn't plan it.
It seemed really... Yeah. He just showed up with like a Sharpie and some paper, and everybody looked at him like he was nuts.
And what was really funny is that the person that he picked in the audience to do the trick with him, at one point he said, we've never met before, right? And it was hysterical because the guy sitting next to me and I had exchanged, at intermission, I think, had exchanged stories about how we had each met Neil Patrick Harris. But, of course, Neil Patrick Harris wouldn't remember us because it was, you know, little minor things.
Right.
And so if he had asked either of us that question, we would have been like, yes.
But, and the other thing, he was like, you know, okay, we're going to do a mentalism act. I'm thinking of a number, whatever. And then his punchline had nothing to really do with that. It was so generic and vague that
but it was actually one of the really funny moments.
Right, and his win was legit. It was just weak.
Yeah.
But so that kind of thing was like really, really super funny. And there's no question that the people up on stage for all of the failings on stage were consummate professionals, because it's harder to fail on purpose than it is to just fail. But one of the problems Colleen and I had, and I may have had this more than Colleen, you can tell me if that's true or not.
Oh, no, I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say, and it was a big problem for me, too.
So one of the problems that I had was I have theater brain. We have done so many live stage shows. We've done so many performances. We've been in plays that other people directed. I've directed plays. We've been characters in plays with each other. Colleen and I have, playing off each other. And when something goes wrong, you instantly start trying to figure out how to fix it. And you come up with like 8 solutions and you choose one and go, this is the one that will hopefully work best. And every time somebody would screw up on stage, that's where my brain went.
Yeah, same here. I would be like, here's how you can fix it. No, you're doing the wrong thing.
Right. And so
why are you committing to that?
So sometimes we were much more horrified than amused.
Yeah.
And I wish I could have shut that part of my brain off. That would have been great.
And overall, I highly recommend. It's only in theaters at the Amundsen for another 3 days if you're able to get last minute tickets.
Right. And we don't know where it's going to go from here. I don't know if it's going back to New York. It may go to San Francisco. There is nothing that I can see. And they extended it a week. So this whole Neil Patrick Harris run that goes through the 17th, that wasn't supposed to happen. They're extending it a week and taking some rehearsal time from whatever's coming later. But it's really well done. It's absolutely hysterical. A lot of the people, part of the comedy comes from the fact that they are cast against body type, which is terrific. Like Tinkerbell has no purpose being Tinkerbell, but she's glorious in the role. She's absolutely amazing. There's a whole bunch of things like that you're just like, you scratch your head and you're like, huh? The stage crew is a huge part of it. And it's really, they managed to make the show, which obviously had a high budget, look really cheap in all the best ways.
Okay.
There are still some tickets left in the last rows, but I imagine even in the last rows that it's fun.
Well, and I got to tell you, so I was really worried when we bought tickets. Their credit card system went down, so you could buy tickets at the box office, which they didn't tell us, and you couldn't buy them online. And so I called them and I said, "Hey guys, you got to save these tickets for me till your credit card thing's back up." And so we originally got tickets up in the balcony, and the theater, the Amundsen Theater, which is part of the LA Music Center with two other theaters in it. It's not big, it's tall. And so the ground floor area that we were in was just like any sort of average movie theater. But then there's a balcony above that, and there's a balcony above that. And so we were originally getting tickets in this third balcony, a couple rows back from the front. And as always, I was going to bring binoculars because that's my thing. My eyes are terrible. I always bring binoculars.
Gotcha.
And we ended up in seats on the ground floor because the woman who inevitably sold me the tickets said, "These are closer, these are better, they're the same price, you should go for these." And I really had my doubts. I was really worried about it. Our seats actually turned out to be great. When the woman in front of us actually sat back in her seat, that was magnificent because there was no one tall in front of us. And having the binoculars for me really made it. So if you go to it, bring a binocular, bring some binoculars, opera glasses.
I didn't need any.
Right. Colleen, who has better eyes, didn't need it. But for me, seeing a lot of the stuff close up, like I never would have got Neil Patrick Harris's magic trick if I didn't have binoculars. Things like that.
The lowest price tickets that are left are $80, just so that you know.
Okay. We paid $65 for ours.
Yeah.
And they raised the price like $5 a ticket when Neil Patrick Harris jumped in, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, and there are 5 shows left.
Yeah, it's wherever this show ends up. If it ends up near you, go see it. It was really, really glorious.
All right, should we start in on the Star Wars history? We've got about 5 minutes to the top of the hour.
Sure. It looks like we lost Kelly. Bye, Kelly. She's
you say that like she went to dinner.
She did go to dinner.
It just sounded much more serious.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
She just decided that she didn't want to do. I'll tell you before we
there's some sort of rocket launch that happened.
Before we do move on, we were talking about their engagement party.
Oh yeah, show us the picture
that we threw, and so. This was done in 1996.
I'm sure Kelly has seen this before.
Yes. August 18th, 1996. And it was a thing that I had to do pretty much without computers, not in the same way that we do. So this is all kind of laid out in for a Xerox page. Out of like Xerox things and cut out. And there's the idea was that we would go to the park, we'd meet at the train, we'd take the train to New Orleans Square, we would go and ride the Indiana Jones ride, which was fairly new at that point. Then we did Pirates of the Caribbean. Then we met back at the French Market, which is now Tiana's Palace. It just reopened as Tiana's Palace. And so we did the French Market restaurant. Everybody got their riddles to go, and then people took pictures of the answers and put them in the 1 hour development. And then we went and we met at the, we had a picnic outside the park. We had, because DCA wasn't there yet, so you could get out and in really easily. And then we went to dinner at the Monorail Cafe at the hotel, where other people could join us if they didn't want to spring for Disney. And then we went back in and we rode a few rides and did the Jungle Cruise and stuff like that. So all of these things were just like really fun. This is the announcement for them as a Western Union telegram and things like that. I haven't seen this in like 30 years. It's pretty great. We put everybody's address on it and mailed it out. And some of the stuff in here, these like Western Union envelopes and things, these are all real Western Union documents that I've fudged up. And then we had a lot of trip stuff. Like there's this square thing here that says burn in the upper left-hand corner. And that was a thing. You went to a scale when you were traveling in the 40s and 50s, and you would put a coin in the scale. It would weigh you. It would print this out and tell you how heavy you were. And then it would give you like a fortune and that kind of thing. It was actually really fun. And so we had a whole bunch of these old documents that we slammed together to make this thing that it folded into 3. It's on legal size paper. And we mailed it to everybody who was going to come to their engagement party. It was super fun. And one of the reasons that we bring it up is because we want to do this again. We want to do an Indiana Jones scavenger hunt again. And this was how we announced it. This was how we started it. We did it for our friends Andrew and Jennifer. We did it here. I think we did it a third time unconnected to anybody's wedding. It was a lot of fun. We had a really, really great time. And it was so great to see her pop up with this on Facebook. It really was an awful lot of fun. So super cool, I thought.
Cool. So we have 3 minutes to the top of the hour. Do you want to start with one Star Wars item? See how far
no,
we get?
let's save it for the next one.
Right.
I think the only real other thing, and we could talk about more in this later, but the only real thing that I saw at Disneyland I thought was really unusual that didn't really impact the day at all was with the reopening of Tiana's Palace. Apparently, Disneyland has now started selling booze in the park. So there's a select number of restaurants that you can get drinks in. I'm pretty sure you're not meant to take the drinks out of the restaurant.
Yeah.
But like the Carnation Cafe, you can get drinks in. You can get them at Cafe Orleans, Blue Bayou, I'm sure. And so we'll talk about the variety of drinks that they have over there. But I noticed in the park, they didn't make a huge deal about it. And also on their blog, the Disney Parks blog, they didn't make a really huge deal about it either. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with them putting alcohol in there as long as people are respectful. Colleen and I certainly have had lots of instances where we've run into a lot of drunk people at Disney where they'd gone over to the hotel, got completely blitzed, jump on the monorail, and went into the park. To the point where we had to alert cast members because the people were a danger to themselves. They couldn't navigate the exit from the monorail because they'd had so much to drink. So, that's...
They were belligerent.
It's a weird thing, yeah.
Yeah, we have loads of fun.
But we'll see how it plays out. I don't imagine it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, the Carnation Cafe has sparkling wine and mimosas on their breakfast menu.
Huh.
Hey, Liz, and hey, Rose. They're both on here now, watching, and Chris. Oh, hey, guys. I don't know who else
Sean,
is
top
watching.
of the hour?
Yep. This here is Docking Bay 94. It's a Thursday night. We're hanging out with you on Twitch and on Facebook and on YouTube and maybe on sci-fi.radio. It's actually our home station, and I don't know for sure that we're actually doing the thing. So I'm gonna pop this on real quick. If we hear music,
Then it's not
nope,
us.
they're playing Space Truckin' by Deep Purple.
Yeah.
All right, Space Truckin'.
Space Truckin'.
Sorry, we're not on the radio.
Truckin'.
Apologies. But, whatever. It is what it is. And it's weird that we're not on the radio. That's a very rare kind of thing. I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby.
Jessel Donoho.
This is Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
And we're very grateful to everybody who's hanging out, all the folks over on our chat. And we've discovered tonight, too, thanks to people reporting back to us, that if you are doing Discord, if you're looking at the Sci-Fi.radio Discord, you can also watch the show in that feed. So, hey, not too shabby.
Alrighty. Let us move on to Star Wars. Jeff, you want to start with some history?
Okay. Okay. Before you do, I'm going to try this. I think I have found...
Keep trying.
We can play music?
Royalty-free music.
Uh-oh.
We got it. Let's see if we get dinged for it.
How is that royalty-free music?
Because it's not performed by the original artist.
Wow.
I don't know. Let's see if we get dinged for it. A little experiment. All right. Hit it, Jeff.
No idea. I sing it, but I can't hear it.
It's the cantina in a very peppy, poppy version.
Oh, okay. Okay. September 11th, 1934. That's when Ian Abercrombie was born. And if nobody knows who that is for Star Wars, he was the voice of Palpatine / Sidious in the Clone Wars film and in the Clone Wars series.
Sorry, I couldn't hear Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, did you not hear the first one? It was
No.
September.
You can keep going.
Huh? Okay.
It was just hard to hear you.
Yeah, Ian Abercrombie. So he did the Clone Wars, the film and the TV series as Palpatine. But he did lots and lots of other things, especially Disney stuff. Wizards of Waverly Place and Rango and blah 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 blah.
He's a voice guy.
Yeah, he's had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So, and live action too. So, I mean, just by looking at him, I've seen him in stuff visually, and I'd have to scroll down to find it all. Oh, he was the wise man. That's right, in Army of Darkness. He's the wise man who's, helping Ash out, whatever. But he had like a big old weird beard and mustache thing going on in that. Let's see. We have. Our next one is September 9th, 1937. That's when Archie Goodwin was born. And boy, if you know comics, Archie Goodwin. From the notes, I can't tell. I'm going to hazard a guess that it was probably the Marvel run that he worked on.
It was.
Star Wars.
In fact, we talked about him quite a bit on our panel because he did the really, really early stuff. And I think Archie Goodwin also did the daily comic strip in the newspaper.
I imagine so. I mean, yeah. I mean, he did do comic strips as well, so he must have done that too.
He took over for Roy Thomas, wrote over 30 issues spanning 30 years, it says.
Yeah, tons of work at Marvel, tons at DC, like Incredible Hulk and Iron Man and stuff like that. So
Yeah, but those newspaper strips were really great. And, of course, they came to your house in the newspaper.
Yeah,
you didn't even have to buy the comic strip.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Very prolific fellow.
Definitely.
Last person on the list is September 14th, 1950. That's when Michael Reeves was born. He wrote episodes of Droids and some of the Star Wars novels, like Jedi Twilight and Darth Maul, and there's another one, Battle something or other. But yeah, not just that. I mean, tons of other work like Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, and and Gargoyles and such. So pretty big repertoire in his screenwriting and regular novel writing, as it were, too.
Well, and as I remember, and maybe I'm wrong. Let Let me look up his history page here. I remember him writing with his wife.
Could be.
And let's see here. Let's see if I can find him on IMDb.
Oh, yeah, Bren. With his then wife, Bren Stevens.
No, and that's not
Yeah.
even the one I'm thinking of. I thought he was married to a woman named Judy, who, but
I don't know.
maybe I'm not.
But
Gosh,
he did work on stuff with Bren. His
he
wife.
just died. Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
Like really
but
recently.
it's just an insane number of work work too as well.
Well, 30 episodes
Louise.
of Batman the Animated Series.
Yes. Yeah.
How fast does this guy write? Gargoyles, he did 22 episodes of.
Yeah.
It's just, my lord.
That's insane.
That's not. Yeah, I'm looking at his credits. 19 episodes of TNMT. The Real Ghostbusters, he did 16. Wow.
Yeah. And that's just the screenwriting and TV writing. It's like he wrote a crud load of books.
Right.
So.
And I don't know if we should hold this
Busy
against
guy.
him. 63 episodes of the Smurfs.
Well, I mean, you got to get a paycheck, so.
Right. Oh, that's my confusion. He used to go by J. Michael Reeves.
Okay.
That's where I'm like, where am I getting Judy from? It's a J. Michael Reeves.
Judy.
Judy. Right. Nobody
September
talks like
8th.
that.
We're past the birthdays of September 8th, 1977. That's when Vader made a cameo on the Wacky Saturday Preview and Other Good Stuff special on CBS. Yeah. I think we've looked that up numerous times before, and it's really hard to find stuff on it, but it's just a weird show they do on CBS.
Yeah, and it's not even the one that I'm thinking of. Because I'm always thinking of Blue Peter, which is a British show, and here you go, the Wacko Saturday Preview and Other Good Stuff special. Which was basically them pimping all of the cartoons that were coming up. So Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Hour, Batman Tarzan Adventure Hour, Fat Albert, Secrets of Isis, which Michael Reeves wrote for, by the way. The CBS Saturday Film Festival, and it featured Darth Vader along with Jim Backus, Harry Nilsson, Gary Owens, and Marty Allen. And Loretta Swit. But obviously Darth Vader's the king.
Yeah, so. It all comes full circle.
Right.
Hi, Zach. Zach's watching now.
I have a picture here that I'll throw up on the video side of things of Darth Vader and Marty Allen. It's a little disturbing.
Yeah.
There we go. Darth Vader, Marty Allen. Anybody remember Marty Allen?
I do.
Oh my goodness! I haven't seen him in forever, obviously,
Right?
but good grief.
I mean, how weird is that? We haven't seen him in a long time. And they seem to be in some sort of fishing cabin. I don't even know what's going on there. Oh, that's awesome. The 70s.
Next up, we have September 12th, 1977, is when Burger Chef Restaurant launched the first Star Wars fast food promo. 4 different posters and give it away, and when you bought a 49-cent soda.
You could also get these posters in the United States. They were Burger Chef. Pardon me a second. My goodness, I got a feather in my throat. Burger Chef was the British arm of like Burger King, basically.
Yeah.
And they had these very stylized posters that were, they had like a little bit of a story down in the corner, and they were done quick and dirty. And there were 4 of these, and like a lot of the comic books, the art didn't really look like the characters so much. And if you look here, the art that they took for R2D2 to use as a model for their paint was a preliminary version of R2. He doesn't have blue paint on the arms and stuff on the front of his body like he normally does. Apparently, I can't zoom in anymore on that. Oh well.
I know.
But yeah, it's really, really kind of interesting. I'm going to have to run and get some water or something because I'm really losing my voice. I'll be right back.
Our last bit of Star Wars history, September 11th, 2010. And that's when the Clone Wars weekend kicked off at Zeum in San Francisco. And he's unfortunately going to get a drink, but I'm pretty sure that's a thing that Sean did, where they had a bunch of kids on like the lawn at ILM, and he was teaching them how to swing around lightsabers.
I'm sure he won't
and
mind
stuff.
coming back to it in a few minutes. Yeah. So let's quickly talk about the first look of Lego's UCS Venator class Republic attack cruiser.
Yeah.
Which is a large set. It's
absolutely huge.
5,374 pieces.
Yeah.
So it's going to be the price will be consummate with that many pieces because that's how they charge.
There's like a formula of what these things cost. That you can pretty much go, oh well, based on that many pieces, it's like 10 cents a piece or something like that.
Yeah, huge.
Jeff
Here's a picture of it real quick.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Jeff pointed out that you probably had been at the Clone Wars weekend kickoff at the Zeum in San Francisco in 2010.
Yeah, exactly. Was that on our calendar?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I had done a charity event that Friday at Lucasfilm up at the Presidio, and we had done. We left there, and I went down into the city, and yeah, the Zeum was this really cool cylindrical kids museum, and I spent the entire weekend teaching kids how to fight with lightsabers. It was really great, and in fact, my profile picture, if I can get to it, I'm trying to get to it. One of my very favorite ones. Here we go. That wasn't so painful. Was from the Zeum Museum. It's this one here. So that's what I looked like back in 2010. A little more studly than I do now. But oh my gosh, it was such a great weekend. I made some really great friends of the people in the museum. And the kids just had a blast. We did so many lightsaber training in this big round room with a big projection on the wall, and it was just a blast. And then the guys from the Golden Gate Garrison and Endor Base, and people who were up there for Rebel Legion and 501st were just super accommodating and welcoming, and yeah, it was really fun. That's awesome. Is that what I missed when I went to get a glass of water?
Yeah, it is.
Yes, yes, you did.
And StarWars.com has shared with us how to make Lothcat cookies by putting a popsicle stick into an Oreo cookie, dipping it in tan-colored melted chocolate dipping. They're called chocolate melts, and they come in different colors. You can get them at Michael's, or I assume another craft store. You just dip the Oreo in it to make the top half of the Lothcat, and then you pipe white and dark brown around to make and black to make the eyes and the nose and the ears. So kind of fun.
Do we have a? Yeah. Is there a picture?
Cute. There is a picture. If you open the link, there's a picture first thing.
Oh wow! I'm almost scared. Here, let me flip those over. Here you go. It's I'm afraid to put that in my mouth.
It's just an Oreo. It'll be okay.
I know. It's only a cookie. That's what I keep telling myself. It's only a cookie.
And Taika Waititi has talked to someone that Superhero Hype talked to. Oh, he talked to Variety about what happened to his Star Wars movie. And let's see what he said about it. He said, I don't know. Does anyone else know what he said about it?
What he's been saying in the past was that he just keeps putting it on the back burner. Because it's like it's in development, and he says it may have stalled out.
Well, what he says is he talks about it. He says look, I think for the Star Wars universe to expand, it has to expand. I don't think that I'm any use to, in the Star Wars universe making a film where everyone's like, oh great, well that's the blueprints for the Millennium Falcon. Oh, that's Chewbacca's grandmother. That all stands alone. That's great. Though I would like to take something new and create some new characters and just expand the world. Otherwise, it feels like it's a very small story.
So basically, he didn't say much.
Right. Well, but he's saying what everybody's been saying, which is and what I think he said before, which was he wanted to do a project that wasn't set within any of the trilogies that we've had in the film. He wants to do something like really early or really late than that. And apparently he said, I guess Sean Levy, who he was honoring, and Sean Levy, of course, did Free Guy, a bunch of other stuff. And so he was at the Toronto International Film Festival, which was honoring Sean Levy. And he also said, unlike me, let's hope he manages to finish a script for his Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that means that he has a script that's done or not.
He's been working on it, so I don't think he's actually done with it
But
yet.
is it done?
He's working on it.
So,
yeah.
But, I mean, he's not wrong. Kathy Kennedy says that he's still in development. They haven't canned him. They haven't shut him down.
But if you'll notice, that's something that Kathleen Kennedy said in the past.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't know how much writing anybody's doing right now.
Right.
For the
they're not
scripts.
supposed to be doing any writing right now.
Yes, right. But she said
then,
she did say this, and I bring it up because I get tired of people who are always saying Kathy Kennedy's like meddling in the stories and the scripts and stuff. She doesn't. That's not her job. She says this. She says he's writing the script himself. He doesn't really want to bring others into that process, and I don't blame him. He has a very, very unique voice, so we want to protect that and what he's doing, but we're going to make his movie one day. So, basically she's just letting him do his own thing. But with the writer's strike on, if he's a WGA member, as I imagine he is, for writing his own movies, that's got to throw a big wrench into his timing. So
yeah, exactly.
I mean, the reality of it is he could probably still be noodling around with it and not saying anything. You write when you write, and it's the biggest problem is when you're on the time clock and you're working for like a TV show or something where you've got to write these episodes, you got to do whatever. Actually, just to sidetrack a little bit here, there's a big flap going on right now with the Writers Guild of America, because Drew Barrymore says that she's going to reactivate her talk show.
Also, what is his name? He's a late night political guy. He's doing it too.
Right. I've Jon Stewart? No.
Yeah. I think it was Jon Stewart.
Okay.
Wait, Jon Stewart?
So
look at a picture.
basically,
I don't know.
And to go back to 2007,
it might be the blog one for charity.
What they did in 2007 is that people with talk shows told their WGA members, go be on strike. we'll muddle along without you. We're not going to use writers. We'll do a lot of like conversations and interviews and things like that, which is what they did. And that was Jay Leno did that. That was Conan O'Brien. Both of them brought their shows back on the air because they wanted to get their people paid, who like people who were not part of the Writers Guild strike were suffering. And so that was their logic behind it, although they took a little bit of flack, but not as much as Drew Barrymore is taking right now. The View, the television show The View, is not a news show because news shows are exempt from that. But they are doing the same thing where basically they said, okay, our WGA writers, you guys go be on strike. We'll figure it out without you.
So our listeners say that Bill Maher is the other one.
Bill Maher, okay.
Yeah.
And so the interesting thing about this is that, I mean, I feel bad for the WGA things, but a lot of people are just slamming Drew Barrymore, and they're like, oh, you know, heartless, entitled wench. And, but, you know, if she's employing the rest of her staff, I mean, that's kind of a big deal because the writers agreed to not get paid. The SAG members agreed to not get paid. They're like, none of us are going to work. And by the way, these talk shows are not covered by SAG. They're free to do whatever they want to do. It's not a SAG issue. So Drew Barrymore isn't being a scab. She's not crossing lines.
Well, that's funny because they called her a scab.
Everybody's calling her a scab from the Writers Guild side of things. She herself is not a WGA member, but by continuing her show without her WGA writers, they're saying she's crossing the line and being a scab.
Well, her writers are picketing outside of her show,
which she says they should, and she's like, "Go guys, you know, I'm behind you for that." But everybody else who works on our show isn't getting a paycheck because they're not working on their show anymore. And how many days has this been? It's been like half a year.
Yeah.
It's been nuts, and I haven't made up my mind yet. So far, but I feel on one hand that if she can make her pay her employees to even put on the most basic of shows where she just interviews people, I kind of think it's okay. I mean, she can't have comedy sketches and stuff like she would normally do. The writers aren't contributing questions and stuff, but you know, it's weird. So the WGA strike so far has been going on for 131 days. 4 months, 1 week, 1 day. 4 months is a long time to not get any money.
Time. And this is right. We're right at the time when the big studios said this is when the writers and actors would start losing their homes because they couldn't pay the rent.
Right.
And so they needed to hold out until September or October so that they could win over the poor people who can't afford to pay their rent.
And based what I know of Drew Barrymore, I don't think this is an ego thing. I don't think she's like, well, my show's going to go back on the air because blah, blah, blah. I really feel like she's thinking about the people who are on her staff. And this is exactly what happened in 2007. Some of the talk show people went, our people are suffering. Our people don't have any money. We can do a basic show and get, 95% of the people on our show paid.
And I've been chatting with some of our people that usually, like, I work with them very occasionally, or I used to work with them a long time ago, and they're now on bigger projects, union projects. And, there's a lot of people working in coffee shops trying to get enough to eat.
Well, and there's a lot of actors who are going to Richard Dreyfuss is going to autograph shows and signing autographs. He's not talking about his movies, not talking about projects, he's just signing autographs. And honestly, all of these talk shows are going to be that kind of thing where it's like, hey, if you're an actor or an actress, if you're a SAG member and you wrote a kid's book, you are free to talk about your kid's book.
Yeah.
People are trying to find other things that they can do to talk about. And, you can have any actor you want come on your show and do a cooking segment because that's not acting.
Yeah.
there are ways around this. So, and like I said, look, I don't know Drew Barrymore. I don't know what her reasoning is behind it. But what I know of her, I feel like she's trying to get her staff paid and not have them get kicked out of their apartments, not have them living in their cars, not have them eventually get fired from her show because they had to take other work. I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt until I hear something different from people who are in a better position to know. Because, if you have 50 people who work on your show and only 2 of them are in the WGA, to make those other 48 people suffer, that's harsh. It's really harsh. And I get it, strikes are brutal, and I know that the studios who make stupid amounts of money are trying to sweat everybody out. But if you can find a way around the wall that the studios have put up, because the studios can sit it out. They got all the money. They can sit it out. You got to do something else. So I'm gonna cut Drew Barrymore some slack for now. Until I learn differently, I'm going to say she's doing it for her people. Yeah. Because that sounds like her to me, based on what I know. So, fingers crossed. But, man, I feel for everybody who's... Look, I'm a SAG member. SAG is on strike. It doesn't really affect me because I just don't work that much. Yeah. We saw a picture today, I think, of Alan Tudyk down on the line in a green morph suit with his alien makeup on. And he's like, "Mo cap, mo money" on his sign, which was really great. And those people, the people who work a lot, and it's the middle of the road people. So like big stars have lots of money. People who are living in their cars and are hand to mouth and whatever, these are the people who need to get back to work. And those are the people that are going to suffer on behalf of the studios. It's really pretty brutal. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But if Drew Barrymore is trying to get her staff working and paid, thumbs up. More power to you. Yeah.
Moving on to theme parks. We have an update on the Dream Key lawsuit, as Sean is a Dream Key member.
Class action lawsuit. Yeah. So if you bought a Magic Key when they were first available after they canceled their annual pass program, they went to this Magic Key thing, which required reservations for everybody. And you discovered you couldn't make a reservation on a number of dates and get into the park, despite having the highest level of Magic Pass key, which said 0 blockout dates for the entire year. Somebody brought a class action lawsuit. Disney has settled this out of court, and it's it looks like the 100 and some thousand people who had this high level Magic Key, including myself, are going to get about $68 from a settlement fund that is $9.5 million. It depends how much the lawyers charge, because, who's going to win here? The lawyers are going to win. But they're going to take that $9.5 million, divide whatever's left over by 100,000, and automatically issue checks. So if you were an annual pass holder that bought the Magic Key, you got the first level of Magic Key, this should find you, should automatically come to you.
$65 or something. I think is what I read.
$68. Okay. Yeah.
So jumping back to the strike for a moment.
Sure.
I just see a post that says that California has approved unemployment insurance for striking workers.
Oh, good.
Oh, good.
So that's kind of awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving back to theme parks. Sorry, I can't tell you this because I'm guessing at what the headline is.
Oh,
hang on just a minute. Well, I did.
Josh.
Disney Parks unveils future project surprises at Destination D23, right. And it is from
Josh D'Amato.
who is the experiences and products chairman from Disney Parks.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I think we met him at
it's a Star Wars Celebration.
at Celebration. We were talking about Galaxy's Edge, and we were talking about the Galactic Star Cruiser.
Oh, he must have been in the area.
We met him at the booth. Yeah.
So they talked about a lot of things in this, and they talked about, one of the things they talked about is that Figment will begin meeting guests. So you can get your photo with Figment in Epcot starting last week.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. Full-size Figment.
I'm sorry to laugh about this. The cast members are still not used to operating in the costume, in the Figment costume. And they've got him in this very tight environment where he like comes out of this circular hole thing. He keeps falling. And there's all these videos of Figment going, "Hey everybody, it's me!" Slam. And like taking a spill.
Oh, that's awful.
It's really awful,
costume.
but you can't not laugh because it's just it's a big comedic dragon thing who hits the ground, and it's I feel so bad for the cast member, but by the same token, it is really funny.
The Imagineers are trying to decide on new lands, new adventures to go into the lands at Disney's Animal Kingdom, and they're considering Encanto and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
For that.
Well, and I still maintain that they should turn the Zocalo into Encanto, into Casita, over at
the park, Disneyland.
Frontierland at Disneyland. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're also trying to reimagine Dino Land in Disney's Animal Kingdom into a new land, so this might be the same land that they were talking about in the previous paragraph. They're looking at some of the most biodiverse areas on the planet in regions just north and south of the equator in the Western Hemisphere, in the northern part of South America, stretching up into Central America.
Yeah.
They're going to do a new show based on Zootopia on the Tree of Life Theater in the Animal Kingdom. And if you haven't seen the projections they do on the Tree of Life, they're really neat.
The projections they do everywhere are great. We just watched the Halloween projections on It's a Small World when I was there with Judy.
Oh, I'm planning to
They were super cool.
in 2 weeks when I go, so plan to see it again.
Yeah, it looked good.
And Judy, because she's going with us. And they're trying to do a lot of blue sky for additional things. They want to tell the story beyond Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah.
Similar in scale to things like Star Wars Galaxy's Edge and Pandora, the World of Avatar.
You know what that sounds like to me? And Jeff's probably way ahead of me. It sounds like a response to Knott's Berry Farm's Ghost Town Alive.
Oh, interesting.
Could be. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What I've heard is like possibly a villain's land, which I don't know if that's really a good idea, but
They shared a look at Fantasy Springs in Tokyo Disney Resort, which has Rapunzel's Forest, Peter Pan's Neverland, and Frozen Kingdom.
That's the art I have up right now, if you're looking at that.
And that is, those are all rides which friend of the show Mela has worked on. So
those are the rides we went to go see.
Right, and they weren't open
Tokyo,
yet.
And they weren't open yet.
Yeah.
Oh.
They announced the name of Disney's newest cruise line, or newest ship, the Disney Adventure. It's the seventh ship in the Disney cruise line fleet, and
Good God,
it is
that's
being
huge.
built in Germany. It will be the first Disney ship to sail from Singapore and throughout Southeast Asia, and feature the Disney service storytelling and entertainment that they have become known for.
There's 2 stacks on that thing.
Nice.
And of course, it doesn't really need to have any stacks, but it's a pure artistic thing. But how big is that?
Because it would probably,
ship?
because it's so big, it would look silly with one.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's see. There are 3 new ships in development, along with Disney Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point, which is a brand new island destination for the cruise line.
Nice.
And it's interesting because someone I know who is on a cruise said that she went to one of these these ports that don't exist other than as a place for cruise ships
As
to
a
go.
Disney destination?
Not Disney, just the cruise line that she's on.
Oh, okay.
Basically, a couple of different cruise lines will get together and buy an empty spot somewhere in the world, and then they just make up a port where people don't live before. And
Wow.
that's all it is. And so the only thing you can do at these ports is the things that the cruise is already, you're just paying the cruise for more stuff. There's
Right.
nothing you can do that's not part of the cruise.
Right. Wow.
Gotcha.
That's funny. I'm looking at this art over here of this island, and there's like all sorts of pavilions and things like that. And I swear that like half of the little pavilions and things, they got the idea just by stacking Pringles on top of each other. It's like all look like potato chips and stuff. I'm like, what are these even supposed to be?
They shared a sneak peek on the latest work on the Disney Treasure, but they don't have that in this article. You have to go to the website to look at it. They have a sneak peek at some new things that are happening in Disney Paris, where they're doing a Frozen themed land.
Yep, that looks pretty cool. That's what the art is right now up there.
They're reimagining Test Track at Epcot.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. You don't like Test Track, do you, Jeff?
I liked its first incarnation, but when they redid it, I did not like what they did with the actual ride part. Because it just decided to do lots and lots of fast moving with braking immediately.
Right.
So I was like, I don't want to keep hurting my neck like this.
Oh, just like rocket rods.
Yeah, it's just horrible.
I need to go through, I have a box of toys in here, and I need to go through it because I have a remote control Test Track car.
Nice.
Which is like sort of action figure scale. I need to go find that.
At Epcot, there will be a new nighttime spectacular called Luminous, The Symphony of Us, starting in December. And Journey of Water, inspired by Moana, will open on October 16th in Epcot. And Moana will arrive in World Nature and make her first appearance in her own dedicated space near the Journey of Water. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was going to say, I thought of something about the Test Track. When the new design for the cars, they have like a new paint job or something. And from what I understand, it's very reminiscent of the ride that used to be there, which I think was called like World of Motion or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah, that's actually, they mentioned that in this article.
Yeah, and then it's supposed to be like a representation of it. Yeah.
They said Imagineers, along with teams from Chevrolet, are reaching back into history for inspiration from the original World of Motion and bringing that spirit of optimism to the next iteration of the Test Track attraction.
There we go.
World Celebration Neighborhood in Epcot will open in December. And in Shanghai Disney Resort, they have a new look on Zootopia.
Okay.
Including a new attraction, special entertainment, and merchandise.
Oh, neat. Like a little land, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. And then back to Florida once again. There will be a new Pirates of the Caribbean themed lounge coming to Adventureland.
Oh.
And in Walt Disney World, the Country Bear Jamboree is getting new songs, and the Bears will be performing a new act. Oh my gosh. Why am I not in Florida? Oh yeah, because I don't like Florida.
Yeah, I don't like the people running Florida.
Yeah, I don't like their political climate.
Yeah, I still like the Disney park. The people running Florida are boneheads.
Okay, and we got a first look at Disney California Adventure Park. A new world jumping vehicle is coming to the next attraction in Avengers Campus to help transport superheroes into the multiverse. Yeah. Brent Strong, Executive Creative Director at Walt Disney Imagineering, is sharing an early peek at the ride vehicle, featuring a design that combines elements of Tony Stark's time suits with Xandarian jump points and Wakandan technology. Is this going in in that big building that
underneath the Quinjet.
Yeah.
I feel that that's
I mean,
what
that's
it is.
the spot that's left.
Yeah,
So.
I feel that that's the case. So, I mean, yeah, where else are they going to put it over there? They don't have any space.
Yeah. So they're just going to move the trolleys somewhere else.
Because it was going to be originally a Quinjet kind of ride where you were supposed to be in the Quinjet cockpit and you flew through an adventure. It sounded very much like the Back to the Future ride to me from Universal. And so maybe they're just sort of retheming that concept with this.
Kind of looks like it too, by the way that
jumping.
people see it.
Actually, this picture I'm showing kind of looks like it's got a DeLorean thing happening to it, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Moving back to Florida once again, the Hatbox Ghost is coming to the Haunted Mansion in Florida.
Boo.
Yeah. I think he's based on the movie, though.
He's ours. Like, suck it. Yeah. Oh, probably. It's going to be like Jared Leto and be annoying.
Yeah.
And then there was a sneak peek of the Frozen-themed land debuting at Hong Kong in November. World of Frozen. And
World of Frozen. I'm picturing Wheel of Fish. World of Frozen.
Back to Epcot once again. Asha from the Walt Disney Animation Studios film Wish, which isn't out yet, will be coming to Epcot in... actually, Epcot, Disneyland Resort, and Disneyland Paris. So not only Florida.
Wow.
Okay, cool.
Ahsoka will become part of our popular Star Tours attraction at Disney's Hollywood Studios in Florida, Disneyland Park in California, and Disneyland Paris beginning next spring.
Okay.
And finally, Josh D'Amaro kicked off the entire celebration with help from the Muppets.
Nice.
Yes.
Anything Disney does to acknowledge the Muppets are
totally
pretty good. And actually, while we're bringing it up, can we just point out that Frank Oz is very sad that Disney doesn't seem to want to have anything to do with him in the Muppets?
Yeah.
As the guy who basically became the de facto performer for Miss Piggy, why haven't they called him back? And he's game to do it. He says he wants to do it.
It's like he doesn't want to. He's like he doesn't want to follow their rules, is what he said at one point. So I don't know.
Well, so the thing about Frank Oz, and honestly, I can't think of anybody else who would know this better. Frank Oz says that Disney doesn't get the Muppets, and they don't understand the comedy and the soul of the Muppets. Now, I will say that the Muppets Haunted Mansion was good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the Electric Mayhem television series. That was really good. So I'm optimistic that maybe they're letting people play in the world who understand it. However, who understands it better than Frank freaking Oz?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I mean, if it's any indication, I know that like for Star Wars productions through Disney, there are so many channels to go through to get something done. And I'm guessing maybe that plays into the Muppets too. There's probably some frustrating, amounts of like stuff to go through just to put something together.
Well, in my opinion, Disney made a huge mistake by differentiating between Disney Muppets and Henson Muppets, splitting that company instead of just maintaining a healthy friendship between the two was really dumb. They basically went, we own this now, and they went away. Whereas in reality, they should have gone, they should have looked at the Muppet ownership as a rental and went, okay, guys, look, you know this better than we know this. Yeah. Let us take advantage of your expertise. So yeah, it's a little exasperating. Before we move on, though, just to mention something, we've been talking about all this Destination D23 stuff. This all happens on Saturday, and each of the things that I showed you have their own online.
This happened last Saturday.
Oh, did it happen already?
Yeah, we talked about it on the show. Maybe I'm incorrect. I'm fairly certain.
No, you're probably right. I thought it was just coming. Interesting.
No, because these are all the announcements that he made.
Right.
He opened the presentation with the Muppets, and then he made, and we talked about it on the show previously.
Yeah, you're right. Friday,
this happened on
September 8th. Look at that. Okay, well, my bad.
So, and these were all available. I don't know about all of them, but many of them were available to stream as they happened.
Right, to watch.
Friday.
That's what I was going to bring up because I thought it hadn't happened yet.
No.
Gotcha.
I will say, though, Disney stock is at the lowest it's been in like a decade. It's like $87 a share, something like that.
Time to buy some shares.
If you want to be a Disney stockholder and get on those stockholder calls and stuff, now is the time. Buy a couple of shares, be a Disney stockholder, because it's below $100 a share, and might not be too shabby.
Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Hera and Chop are now on Batu West,
and I can't find them.
I would like to say that
I have been looking.
Shauna Tripsick is the costume designer for both Mandalorian and Ahsoka. And she said, she posted a picture of Hera and Chopper at Galaxy's Edge. And she said, dude, that was quick. And then she went on to say that she is sometimes involved in the park's costume process. Mando and Boba are another one coming soon. They're actually already out.
They're there, yeah.
But she didn't help with Hera. It was a surprise, and she looks great. And I'm sorry, I misspoke. Just a moment. Not Mando and Boba are coming soon, but Mando and Boba and another character that's coming soon. Which she's not at liberty to say.
Well, depending on how old that is.
This was posted today.
Oh, okay. Because Mando's already there. Boba's already there. Fennec Shand is there.
I'm sorry. Yeah. This was posted 4 days ago. So someone was guessing that would be Sabine or Ezra, and I'm really hoping for Sabine because I like Sabine.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be Sabine. As of, we didn't see this week's episode, which is why we're not really talking about it. We haven't had a chance to see it yet because we did the play last night. So we haven't watched it. But the episode of the previous week, the stinger on it featured Anakin Skywalker. Conceivably, they could bring Anakin there. It just seems a little weird for them to do so. Although, hey, I will say that some of the cast members there talked to me on Tuesday and said that I should find one particular Disney plaid who comes to Galaxy's Edge all the time. His name's Chris. And that I should corner him and I should tell him about old Batu days. Which is my idea for getting Luke, Han, Leia, 3PO, Vader into Galaxy's Edge. Because I was talking to some cast members with Judy, and they're like, holy crap, you need to tell them that, because this would be amazing. So, we'll see if anything comes out of that. I have some pictures of Hera and Chopper up here now. I think Chopper was built by our friend Michael McMaster, because he was there
most likely,
for the debut.
Man. I'm hoping they'll bring in like Hondo at one point too, so he's not just on the ride.
Yeah, and you would think that's a no-brainer because you know that they made a costume for him for the ride film.
Maybe Hondo is the one.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't think Shauna did anything with Hondo.
Yeah.
So.
I don't know.
There are new things to eat at Riverbell Terrace, Cafe Orleans, and Carnation Cafe. New menu items in Disneyland.
Groovy.
Food, glorious food.
Will open someday. We've got,
and that also covers this list of menu items. I believe it also covers the new alcohol that's available in the park.
Yeah, while the show has been going on, I've just opened up the various restaurants that I expect to serve alcohol, and almost all of them have an extensive alcohol menu now.
Right.
Usually a couple of cocktails, a couple of beers, and a couple of wines.
So some of the stuff looks pretty good.
Yeah, I don't think we want to go over everything on here.
We don't.
But I would also like to say that it is extremely difficult to get reservations at any of these restaurants.
Yes.
It is.
Right now, I just looked at not the next time I'm going to Disneyland, but the next time I'm going to Disneyland.
This is weird.
And the only restaurant that I could get of these three was Cafe Orleans.
Wow.
I'm looking at the Cafe Orleans. It's doesn't really say.
Where are you?
Here. I'm looking at a bunch. Oh, Riverbell Terrace. That's what I'm looking at. So they now have a plant-based ice cream. Seems a little weird.
Well, those are very popular at like Whole Foods and places like that.
But for their beverages, they've got some what they call mocktails, which are sort of kind of shake, desserty kind of things. And then, but most of them are alcoholic. So they have the Wild Berry Mule, which is vodka. They've got wines now, a Chardonnay, a Pinot Noir. And they're serving Modelo Especial, which is the best-selling beer in the United States now. It's a Mexican beer that's gone absolutely huge. And Smog City, which is a local brewery, is now providing them with their Sabertooth Squirrel Ale, which is interesting. So that's actually a huge score for a local brewery.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that they looked around to the local things. But I assume that these drinks are not to leave the restaurant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean, that's how it is in Batu. So I think that's how it is everywhere.
Yeah. And
Disneyland anyway.
Over at all of the things, there's Pim's Cup and Chardonnay.
Oh yeah, DCA you could actually walk around with your beer.
Well, that's no.
Stuff,
I'm not talking about that restaurant. This is still New Orleans Square.
Okay.
I'm not talking about
in DCA though.
Pim's has an actual bar.
If we don't move on, we're not going to be able to even get through theme parks, and we definitely aren't going to be able to get through trailers.
Yeah, no worries.
There's also an article with every Disney pumpkin spice treat, which
of course
we just because we don't have time, we won't go through that one.
Mm-hmm.
SeaWorld owes over $12 million in back rent to San Diego.
Whoa,
that's harsh.
Well, obviously, SeaWorld isn't as successful as San Diego Comic-Con, where they keep making allowances for Comic-Con and their rent on the convention center and stuff.
SeaWorld must pay a minimum of $10.4 million in rent per year, plus a 3% surcharge, as agreed on the lease.
That's interesting that they lease their land. They don't own it.
It is, the back due rent is going to 2019, so I'm going to guess this is a COVID problem.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, how and now you have to pay money for times you weren't open?
Yeah.
That's brutal.
And SeaWorld Entertainment Incorporated earned $1.7 billion in revenue, so they can probably afford to pay the...
Yeah, just the first
Jeez.
quarter of this year, they made $293 million. And their attendance is up by like about 10%.
Yeah.
So,
like Anheuser-Busch owned them or something.
But I don't know. But the city's like, hey, it's a lot of road repair, it's a lot of police officers, it's a lot of firefighters. Yeah. They're basically looking at it for infrastructure stuff. So
this next item kind of bums Sean and I out, because when we went to Disneyland Paris, we could not get any merch that said anything about the Phantom Manor, any of the rides we went on. The only thing they had was a lot of Aristocats and the Fab Five characters.
They had character stuff, which was really just a drag. And now they've got like all of this really cool Phantom Manor stuff.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
They've got
Tower
of Terror, which is great.
What the heck?
All of these things that I would love to get. And it's not like I don't have friends who live in Paris.
Well, it would have been fun because we spent so long looking for something to bring back for Trevor.
I know.
We're looking for a Phantom Manor thing, but oh my gosh, look at that Tower of Terror elevator clock.
And Trevor's the one who alerted me to this. This is the clock, which looks like the elevator thing.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. All of this stuff just looks super cool. Do we get it here? No, we do not. They suck. And we
didn't get it when we went there. So.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing we found with the Phantom Manor on it was a box, and they wouldn't even sell us the frickin' box.
Yeah.
Good grief.
Buttheads. Anyway, it's super cool, and
I'm glad they're getting around to it finally, at least.
Yep.
And then we had the first look at the new details for the Disneyland Hotel in Paris, which is set to reopen in January. And the World of Frozen opening will be November 20th at Hong Kong Disneyland Resort. And someone has put together a list of 6 reasons why you should visit. So no time for trailers today. Maybe we'll review some of those trailers.
We can keep them till next week. There's nothing pressing going on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of horror stuff coming out for Halloween, which is kind of interesting. And there's some like legacy stuff that's getting reboot. But
so Sean, we've got 3 minutes.
None of this opens
over the
this month.
3 items in the must cover that you pimped in your
completely.
article?
So we've got a thing going on out here near Palm Springs that is called Cotino. It is a Disney living environment. They're calling it StoryLiving.
It's a housing tract.
It is a housing tract, and man, I just can't imagine that the HOA on this thing is going to be brutal.
Yeah, Sean and I were talking about the HOA this afternoon,
and it's so exclusive that like if you like there's this Long Table Park area that is it's for 55 and over, and you can only be in there if you were residents there, and they're like, look at this beautiful park, isn't it great? But if you're not a resident, F you. And that's kind of annoying to me.
Well, it's probably a gated community anyway.
Well, I imagine they're all going to be.
I think
that
they just want that area not to have screaming children in it.
Maybe, but people are going to invite their grandkids over.
But Sean and I were discussing how would this neighborhood be filled with people who are Disney fanatics who had way too much Disney stuff, or would it be HOA type people who don't let you do anything? Like if you put the wrong color Halloween decorations up,
right,
that they'll come and get you.
And can you imagine like, hey, you put a bunch of Nightmare Before Christmas stuff on your lawn for Halloween, but it doesn't look exactly like the character, so you have to take it down.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the one that's in Florida that they already created a while back.
Celebration.
Yeah. There's rules to that place too.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But now it's over by Palm Springs, and they're like, we're making it so that it reflects the environment around Palm Springs. I'm like, it's desert. Desert's not cool.
Nice chilly old Palm Springs,
Well, and they're putting in all these water features too, and water is scarce here in Southern California and in the desert. So, and 2 things I can kind of lump together: the Crow is getting a reboot. The producer behind it wants to do a whole extended universe kind of thing, because everything's got to be a multiverse, everything's got to be an expanded thing, whatever. And so now they want to make it a giant franchise. It makes lots of money. And so the reboot has Bill Skarsgård as the Crow. It's coming out sometime next year. And then the other thing that's sort of riding along with that, we're getting a Buffy the Vampire Slayer audio story, which surprises me they're not making it an animated thing. Well, if you're going to record the audio, just add animation to it. But it's got James Marsters back as Spike. He's the lead character. Charisma Carpenter, Anthony Head, Juliet Landau, Emma Caulfield, Amber Benson, lots of good people in it. And it takes place in an alternate universe. Big surprise. So where Cordelia was the Slayer. And so Charisma Carpenter comes back as Cordelia the Slayer. So we'll see. Yeah. Could be interesting. Could be fun. I mean, I like Buffy just as much as the next guy. Yeah. We'll see how this works out.
All right. So are we ready to call it? It's 9:00 right now.
I guess that's it. We'll play pickup for some of this stuff next week. But we're glad to have you guys there. Sorry that we weren't on the radio. We've got Gene sorting that out, trying to figure it out. We'll figure it out as we go. But in the meantime, if you saw us on Twitch or on YouTube or on Facebook, we are very grateful for you guys checking in there, or maybe even on Discord, which is, I guess, a new thing. Big thanks and props to Boba-Kit for doing our show document and for throwing up all our links and stuff. We're very grateful for her doing that. To you guys who stuck with us to the end of the show, you guys are completely awesome. I'll be on the air tomorrow for Good Morning Tatooine at 9 a.m. Pacific time, and we will wrap out the week in style. It's a Friday. Fridays are weird, so join us on sci-fi.radio at 9 a.m. That'll be great. And in the meantime, we'll be back again next week to cover the stuff we didn't cover this week.
I'm Colleen Kaylee Crosby.
This is Jeff Donoho.
I am Sean Obi-Shawn Crosby. As always,
may the force be with you.
And happy birthday, Abria. Hope it's a good one.
Yay.
Bye.
Alrighty. I'm still broadcasting over on the radio side of things, even though nobody can hear us. So bye, non-functional radio people. And then for you guys over on the video, have a great one. Here's our credits. Cosmo Moose, by the way, does a theme. He's having a show on Friday, tomorrow. Nice. Look up Cosmo Moose on Facebook. There's an event where he's doing a live show, and you can hear all his great music. That's worth doing. And of course, we play him here over there on the radio station that can't hear us.
Yeah, of course.
Whatever. I don't care. Tomorrow's Friday. It is what it is. Have a good one, everybody. We will see all y'all later on.
Bye.
Good night.